'Tis the season for literary awards. A couple of weeks ago, as I record this, we had the announcement of this year's Nobel Prize in Literature. And just the other day, the Forward Prize winners were announced. The Forward Prizes are a series of prizes for poetry. In my inbox for October, I see notifications about the shortlists for the Goldsmiths Fiction Prize, for the T.S. Eliot Poetry Prize, for the Non-Fiction British Academy Book Prize, and for the Pen Heaney Poetry Prize. Oh, and for the Bollinger Everyman Woodhouse Prize for Humorous Fiction. There was also an announcement from the Booker Prize organisation for a forthcoming children's Booker. Yeah, there is a strong British-European slant to these. I'm a British-English writer and I live in Sweden. When Mats Malm of the Swedish Academy announced Hungarian author László Krasznahorkai as the winner of this year's Nobel Prize for Literature, 25% of the people in this apartment cheered because she has read 2 of his books and loved them, and only that morning she had hoped for a win for him. I, who have heard my wife praise Krasznahorkai, was pleased for him too, and for her for tipping the winner. The other 2 people in the flat were, let's say they were politely indifferent. Currently we have workmen in, laying a new floor and sprucing up our space. The workmen were fixing skirting boards at the time of the announcement, cutting wood to length, nailing it into place. So we turned up the radio to hear the Nobel announcement over the volume of their electric sawing. This caused them to suspend operations for a time. I think they were a bit frustrated about how long Mats Malm took to get to the actual announcement.
Author László Krasznahorkai.
When my wife tried to share with them her enthusiasm for László Krasznahorkai, that was when they were polite. Not great readers, I suspect. Many and varied are the opinions about literary prizes. I know one writer who refuses on principle to read anything shortlisted for the Booker or anything by anyone awarded the Nobel Prize. There are good arguments to be made that prizes are inappropriate for literature. I mean, judgments about what is written are so very subjective. And yet, we all know quality writing when we see it, what we personally regard as quality writing, that is. English author Julian Barnes once famously advised writers that the only sensible attitude to the Booker is to treat it as Posh Bingo. This was his way of criticising the literary award, suggesting it was more about spectacle and chance than genuine literary merit. He makes a good argument. His article on the Booker, which you will find online in the London Review of Books for November 1987, is worth reading. Although some of his references are dated, still there is much that he has to say that feels relevant today. I'll put a link in this video's description. Barnes himself, after winning the Booker in 2011 for his novel The Sense of an Ending, he reportedly softened his stance, though he doesn't seem ever to have retracted his criticism. But there are good arguments to be made in favour of literary prizes as well. They draw public attention to literature and to reading. They stimulate the market. Shortlists and long lists, when published, give a boost to sales of the listed titles as well as to other books by all the authors, and books in general by all authors everywhere. Even if people are only gambling on the books, they may be reading them just to get an idea of what's likely to succeed. And more feet in bookshops means more eyes on shelves, means more books sold. Publishers and booksellers like literary prizes because they increase trade. Small publishers who take the risk of publishing unknown or obscure writers, and writers in translation, they can see their companies put on a much more stable footing as a consequence of backing a winner. I'm thinking of Fitzcarraldo Editions, the little English language publisher of literature in translation, whose authors have managed to scoop no less than 4 recent Nobel Prizes. Svetlana Alexievich in 2015, Olga Tokarczuk in 2018, Annie Ernaux in 2022, and Jon Fosse in 2023. Indeed, Fitzcarraldo have been so successful, they've been able to start their own series of literary awards for novels in English, for essays, and for poetry in translation. Again, links in the description. Literary awards can also be useful to writers long after their moment in the awards season's spotlight. It's helpful to be able to add a puff to forthcoming publications. Shortlisted for or winner of the 2020 insert name of prize here award. It's an extra bit of bling to put on the cover that might help attract a reader. Myself, I used to think that prizes and awards were only for big name authors, but a post from the Alliance of Independent Authors from August this year got me thinking otherwise. Hannah Jacobson's article, with the somewhat clickbaity title, "The Biggest Book Award Myth That's Keeping Indie Authors from Winning," encourages writers to submit their work for awards. And in a follow-up article from October, just last month, she lays out a strategy for writers to plan and budget for submitting. Of course, Hannah Jacobson is writing for self-published authors, but what she describes must be true for many traditionally published authors as well, unless, I suppose, they have won contracts with really big publishing conglomerates or they have agents who have taken on the responsibility of promoting them commercially. It's not a common thing nowadays. Long gone are the days, if they ever existed, when writers needed only to focus on writing their books. Nowadays, sales and marketing are labours borne as much by the author as by the publisher. What awards are you thinking about submitting for? Or if you have won an award, how do you think it helped your sales? Or did it help your sales? Why not share your experiences in the comments? Thanks for viewing this, and if you liked it, you can give me a thumbs up. And that's cheerio from me until the next video.